Welcome back to another video. If you're already subscribed, welcome back, my darling. But if you have not yet subscribed, then what are you even waiting for? Subscribe. And while you're down there subscribing, because I have faith that you will, also turn your notifications on for all notifications to become a part of the Morgan Shay Notify Gang. So if you watched my live yesterday, then you got the threesome story. If you didn't, go watch the live. I'll have it up in the cards. It's saved to my channel. Yesterday, one of my old school friends sent me a podcast. It's the Cheers Brothers podcast with Caitlin Ray and Sarah Baska, I believe. I'll have it linked below, the specific podcast that I'm talking about. And she was like, girl, have you listened to this podcast? And she was like, it is exactly like our experience that we had back in 2008. And I was like, no. And at first I didn't really know what she was talking about, because I literally, after listening to that podcast, blocked all of this out of my mind, evidently, because it all just come rushing back to me as I listened to the podcast. Now, for one, my situation with my two friends is a lot different in that this happened in 2008. So it was a different time. There wasn't apps, there wasn't, reviews of people or anything like this. This happened on a website. This was super dangerous for us to do, but at the time, a lot of people were doing it at our age. At the time, I was doing a lot of questioning in my life. I had just gotten separated. I literally graduated high school, got married, and very quickly after got separated. So I was in this period where I was trying to find out which direction I wanted to go in. Did I want to go ahead and go to college, or what did I want to do? My two friends approached me and said, hey, we found this website where we can go to Charleston, South Carolina, and we're going to stay on this man's property. And he had this beautiful, beachy vibe house, and we were going to stay there rent free, and he was going to pay us to do specific things. In this sense, it is a lot like Caitlin Ray's experience. So go watch her podcast if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, to this day, there are still apps where it's like going away programs. So you can go to people's homes. It could be in different states. It could be in different countries. Basically, you go there and typically you live there rent free. And sometimes they'll pay you to do certain things. My two friends did most of the research. My grandmother was completely against this entire situation. She was like, absolutely not. You have no idea who this person is. And I was like, this website let him on there. Little did we know that they did little to no research back then, none. They ended up doing most of the conversating. And then I remember that we all had a phone call with him one night, literally 2 weeks before we were going. And he was kind of explaining how the situation was going to be. He said that he had 3 spare bedrooms. Each of us would have one. We would get to live right there in Charleston, right on the beach. And we would have our own bedrooms. And our jobs were going to be to work in his store that he had down the street. Instead of driving down there, we flew. A big mistake, because if something were to happen and we needed to fucking leave, we were going to be fucking stranded. So we go down there, and I remember that I had just gotten my first iPhone. It was the first iPhone I ever owned. And the iPhone, when you first got it, even though it didn't have as many features as obviously it does now, it still had a shitload of features. And my nanny had gotten an iPhone. Remember that there was some service we have. I can't remember if it was Find My iPhone. I don't know if it was or not, but basically we had some service where she would be able to know where I was at all times. Because I basically went to her and said, I'm a grown adult and I'm going. And she said, here's some money, cash. Here's credit cards. Please keep in contact with me. So we end up going. We fly there. We're going to call my friends A and B. A, her family knew exactly what she was doing, and me, my nanny, knew what I was doing. I think I might have mentioned it to my mom. We can find out in the comments if my mom's like, what the hell? But I'm pretty sure I told my mom. Now, B, her family had no fucking idea. And we didn't know this at the time. And we're going to South Carolina. I remember we get on the flight and I'm super nervous, but also I'm almost 19. It was weeks before my birthday. So I remember it was cold outside when we got there. And I remember him picking us up, and it was very awkward. And also, according to A, his profile picture on the website was not what he looked like at all. he looked like a very old man. He looked like a papaw. I didn't know, so I'm like, whatever about it. But A and B are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, great. That's fucking fantastic. So we're in another fucking state and he's used a fake fucking profile picture. Perfect. We go to his house and it is a fucking trash dump. It is a fucking dump. Like a dump. It's not on the beach at all. Nowhere near the beach. I'd been to Charleston several times. It looked very sketch. We don't know this yet, but we would come to discover that we weren't in Charleston at all. Getting to his place, and I remember pulling down the driveway, and A had showed me photos of his home, and this was not fucking it. This was not fucking it. Even if the pictures he used on the website were when he first bought the fucking house, this was not the same fucking house. I mean, the photo that he shared was like a Charleston beach house on the fucking ocean, bitch. Like lifted up on the ocean. This was not that at all. This was not that at all. And I'm not talking shit about somebody's house or whatever. I've lived in some fucking places. But this was like a shack. This was like, it was one of those shotgun houses. If you don't know what that is, it's like a house that goes straight back. So it's all straight. And it was pretty small and it was all one level. So when you walked in, everything was like one big open space, and then there were bedrooms kind of spread it out. Also, there were only 2 extra bedrooms. So when he said 3 bedrooms, that pervert meant his room as well. Mind you, we are all 18. I'm almost 19 and I'm the oldest one there. They are both 18 years old. We're like, what the fuck? We're weirded out already. Go to dinner this night and they were kind of freaking out. A and B were. And I was like, well, maybe it's just like an icebreaker. You know, he's just taking us to dinner as an icebreaker. It was very weird. He made very odd statements that first night, but it didn't get how it was going to. It was very out of line though. And I, being me, come straight forward and I'm like, so how old are you? Like, straight up, motherfucker, how old are you? It's like, I'm 63 years old. Now, B, she's a lot like me in that way, where like if we have a question, like we'll just ask you, like, no skin off my nose. And B's like, so what, whose picture was that in your profile? And he was like,
oh, I used my grandsons because I wanted to make sure that there were going to be young people coming because they work harder.
And he said that really quick, because they work harder. Because when we got there, like A, because she basically found all this, got her own room, and me and B got a room together. Like nobody went and settled with him. And now looking back, you could tell that he was upset about that. You could tell that he was not okay that one of us weren't like, so where do you want me to put my stuff? To find out, he was like a widow. He shares all of this real super like in detail personal information off the bat about how he's a widow and he married some young girl like right after his wife passed away, and so his kids don't really have anything to do with him, and the only person that he has any any type of connection with at all now is his grandson. Things just didn't really add up. Literally the whole weekend we avoided this man. That night he came to us and he was like, hey, you guys need to be ready at 6 o'clock in the morning, which is something else that A was like, that's not what he said on the website. He said that we wouldn't go to work till 9. And I was like, well, whatever. You know, maybe we have to do certain things before we open. We didn't really know the type of place. So I'm just gonna kind of like speed ahead a little bit. I wanted to lay the groundwork. But now I'm going to speed ahead and I just want to let you guys know how things went. So the business that he had was 1000% a cover up. It was not that business. It was supposed to look kind of like just like a, I don't know, like a kind of like a general store, but not like nobody ever came in there. And we quickly knew that like he was like taking bets for different things. This was all a cover up. He was taking bets for NASCAR races and football games and different shit like that. And he also had like this poker site that he was running. And I walked in on him like day 3 of him on this poker site. Like, I don't know, he was into some weird shit, I know. Right off the bat, day 1, he starts making weird comments. Now in Caitlin Ray's video, she talks about how this man did the same thing. How just super inappropriate, like bringing women over. He would do that. He would bring young women over and he would tell them that he was like super rich and da-da-da-da-da. And he would make comments about our asses, and he made a lot of comments about my boobs and like super weird. So the very first week when I talked to my nanny, I'm like, I want to come home. I was very uncomfortable. And she was like, well, you cannot leave those girls down there. And so I try to persuade A and B to come home. And B is like, I'm down. Like, let's get the fuck out of here. Because we were going to be spending our whole fucking winter break. Because we were, like I said, we were at this point where we were basically making decisions. Like, am I going to go to school in the spring, or am I just going to start work? Like, what's going to happen? I'm going to be away for Christmas and New Year's Eve and Valentine's Day and all this shit to be with a creepy ass old man. Absolutely fucking not. 18, 19 years old. We want to go to the beach. We want to do things, and we get there and it's not as warm as we thought, and it's not on the beach, and it's in this dingy house, and we don't have our own rooms. We weren't getting paid. A and B are ready to go and A is not. And I am like, look, my nanny is buying all of us a plane ticket. You're going. Like, we're not leaving you here with this old ass man. The problem is, right, is that A is an adult and we can't force her onto an airplane. Like, we just can't do that. Also, keep in mind that we were going to be telling this man, hey, we need a ride to the airport. And if not, we were going to have to be getting a cab to the airport. And we were going to have to, like, that's the thing, like, right? We didn't have our cars. And he had gotten so fucking weird. Like, he had started, like, touching us, like, not in those places, but he started like rubbing our shoulders and like running his fingers through our hair, and he had gotten to where he was starting to touch, and he felt comfortable to do that. And I was not vibing with it. B, none of us were. A, I think, really wanted this situation to work. The night before we're catching the flight, this is the night that we're going to tell Freak Show that we're leaving. And I go to A and I'm like, look, I know that you really want this to be something, but it's not. Don't stay here alone. Please, like, please come home with us. And she was like, Morgan, I am staying. What am I supposed to do at that point? Oh shit, I forgot a whole fucking part. So A's parents knew that she had came, right? But B's family didn't. And my nanny called me and said, hey, B's family, because she's seen them at church and shit, she was like, B's family is threatening to like fucking call in a missing person. Like, you all need to tell them that she's down there with you all. So that was another thing, another reason. I forgot all about that shit. See, and I had A and B send me like different things so I didn't forget parts, but I'm getting off on tangents. So let me read a couple of things here. B's family is like, get the fuck home. Like, we're not fucking playing with you. You're coming home. So, and she wanted to anyways. Like, by Wednesday, it was already fucked. A, she wanted me to really put this in here because she said that a lot of people might not understand why she stayed. And she said that it's important for you guys to understand where she was at this time. Her family was really, really pushing her to go in a certain career path. And they didn't know that she had dropped out of college. She had dropped out of college at this point. She was not interested in that career path. She had started stripping at this point, and her family didn't know, and she was just trying to really get up on her feet. Fast forward, it's time for us to tell Freak Show that we're leaving, and A is going to stay. She's made it very clear. So we end up going to him, and we tell him, look, this just isn't for us. We're sorry. B's family is like insisting that she comes home, or they're gonna cut her off and call the police and shit. Like, when we said that, he was like, then you need to get the fuck out. To B, like, just B. And he looks over at me and he was like, I'll give you $1,000 to stay. When he said that, it fucking sent chills up my goddamn spine. I was like, no thanks. Like, it freaked me out. We give one last attempt at trying to get A to come home. And she looks us dead in the eyes and she says, he's paying me $10,000 to stay until May. I read everything that she wanted me to explain. She was going through a lot, and she knew that this money would set her up for what she wanted to do. And eventually she did get into the career path that she wanted to. So I do just want to lay that out. I have been given permission to tell a couple of things that happened. I'm thinking of having A on my channel in the future so she can really lay down exactly what happened after me and B left. Me and B get on the plane and we leave. We never were paid by Freak Show, me or B, either one. We are super worried about A. At this point, Facebook is really popping, and she was posting photos close up, like basically hugging Freak Show. And we just got really concerned about A. And so I remember calling her one night, and again, I have permission to say all this. I have permission to say more, but I'm not gonna. I would rather her be on the channel so that she can tell her story. But I give a call to A to ask what's going on, and she's told me that she is in love with Freak Show. For the rest of the information, I'm gonna have A on my channel. It was a very, very, very serious and disgusting thing that Freak Show was doing. He basically had been taking advantage, gaslighting, and in my opinion, even though she was 18, he was grooming her. What ended up happening is myself and B went to go rescue A in the middle of the night, right after football season had kicked in. So she ended up staying from December the 3rd, I think, of 2008, all the way up until like September of 2009. So almost a full year she stayed with Freak Show. And again, guys, all of this blacked out of my mind. I had forgot about all of this. As I've told you guys before, I've written in spiral notebooks like every fucking thing that's happened to me. And this wasn't in any of it. And this was a big thing, especially for A, not so much for me and B, but we drove to Charleston. I remember us leaving at like 4:45 in the morning. And like we had encouragement from our family, like go get her. Be sure that you like this video if you would like a collab with A. I hope you all did enjoy this video. Do be sure if you do anything like this that you do your research, but please be safe, be smart, be safe. I love you all. Be sure that you do subscribe before you leave and turn your notifications on for all notifications to become a part of the Morgan Shay Notify Gang, Gang, Gang. So down in the description box, as always, there are links to all the social media platforms that I am active on. And tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook with Kai Styles, we are going live and we are going to be getting ready together. So I will also have a link down in the description box to go and follow Kyle on Facebook so that you can join us for that live. I love you all so freaking much. And until the very next time, my loves. Bye, y'all.